Guys, thank you so much for all the wonderful reviews you have been sending in for our CELPIP mock tests, for our CELPIP courses, and all these programs that you can find on our website as well. You can see the reviews and how students are benefiting, and you can be the next one. Now for this lesson today, we're going to talk about the worst mistakes in CELPIP writing, and the first one is having no flow. So these things, especially something about the flow, are things that are often ignored. And when you forget this and focus on other things, which is also important, but when you lose your focus here, the examiner looks at this and, well, this is one big reason why I should reduce your score. So this is marked in a very strict manner, and that's why we should not ignore it. What I mean by flow is something like this. You see this task 2? This is an attempt by one of our students. Now there's some good things happening here, some bad things, but I'm going to focus on the red circles here. Okay, this is what we call flow between paragraphs, between ideas, and it needs to be organized in this manner. The student has done a good job here. This is a good sample, and then I'm going to show you some ways to do it yourself very effectively. Now, when the student talks about their opinion in the intro, later she continues with the next paragraph, body 1, by using the word when. So she's talking about, hey, we have two options and I would like to pick this one. Now she talks about when considering this option. So when we're considering her option, which was to go for a gym, then she starts to elaborate it. So it's a good flow from the intro to your body 1. Then when we go to body 2, she is now being opposite. She's now being negative, and that's why she uses the word nevertheless. Then finishing up, she says, considering the above arguments, which means like, hey, whatever I said above, based on that, here is my opinion at the end, which is a very good way to wrap it all up, showing your connection with the text above. Okay, now when we look at her task 2, she's doing something similar. Very good hooks at the start, and the way I'm marking the red circles is exactly how the examiner's eyes will move around the text and look at those specific things. So the flow marks are here for the student to pick up, and she's doing a great job at that. When you're in task 1, using adverbs like surely, surprisingly, interestingly, is a great way to start body 1. It starts the topic nicely. Then something here based on the topic can be inserted like undoubtedly. It could be some connector as well, like furthermore, likewise, moreover. Based on the topic, whatever fits, you put it there, but don't just start a paragraph without anything. Use a connector or something that shows a flow between the ideas. Lastly is perfect, because now that's your body 3, the final one. And if you are one of those students who is using firstly, secondly, thirdly, you are too basic. You are doing something that everybody else is doing. So you're not going to get marks for advanced vocabulary and words and phrases usage. Make sure to do something similar to this. But if you are confused about what words you should use, here are 10 good words and phrases you can use to start your paragraphs. Check them out right here, and you can use them, practice with them, make different sentences from them so you can actually use them in your writing and speaking. You can pause the video if you want to take notes. I'm going to move on to our next slide, which is this wonderful question this student asked. So thank you if you're watching. The question was something that I probably have not touched on, and I was like, I'm going to talk about this in the video. And the question is about using the same points in body 1 and 2. For example, let's say we're talking about task 2. And there are two options. You have the option of building a nuclear facility or a shopping mall. Now you say we should build a shopping mall. In body 1, you say, well, we should build one because it's going to have economic advantages. We can employ people. There's going to be a demand for jobs. Good. Body 2, you are now talking about the nuclear station, and you're being negative, saying that, hey, the nuclear station will not hire as many people as the shopping mall, and that will lead to not many jobs. Your point is the same. When you're comparing the body 1 point versus body 2, you're just talking about the economic point. This is not an advised approach. Now, it really depends how you say it. If you say it very effectively, you may still gain marks. But to avoid the risk and be safe from this approach, you should do different points. So if you're talking about the economic advantage in body 1 for shopping, in body 2, you should talk about the disadvantage, which is not related to economy. For example, for the nuclear station, I could talk about how it is dangerous to health and safety of workers because of past incidents and because they're dealing with nuclear technology, which can cause radiation. Something like that. Something independent of what I already said in body 1. So make sure to not use the same points. And I've seen some really bad examples of that, where in body 1 you say that, hey, we need a shopping mall because we don't have many. And in body 2 you would say we don't need a nuclear station because we have many. Like, that is not giving you any marks, okay? You need to have creative ideas. Lastly, let's talk about paragraphing. So paragraphing is important for task 1 and task 2. In this case, the biggest confusion is usually with task 2. In this case, you can see the student has done 3 body paragraphs. And when you're doing 3 body paragraphs, with the intro and conclusion, of course, there is a high risk of running over the word limit. There's also a high risk that you're not going to be able to spend enough time or words on each point to describe them well enough. So I never recommend 3 body paragraphs. We do this in IELTS when you have 250 words. In CELPIP, you have less than 200. It's not advised to have these many paragraphs. You should have a total of 4 paragraphs. And there are 2 ways you can use them to the maximum efficiency. Here are your options. Option 1, and again, we're talking about task 2 here, guys. The best approach to use is have your introduction with your opinion. And again, option 2, same thing. In the introduction, you mention your opinion. Once again, in both options, in the conclusion, same thing. You have to rephrase your opinion. So whatever you said in the intro, just rephrase it again. As you saw earlier when the student said, based on everything above, I still believe. And that's a very good way to get the mark for flow, because you start with an idea, you wrap up with the same idea. Body 1 and 2 are where you are defending that idea in detail. Now, that's just 2 bodies, not 3, because we are trying to stay within the word limit and expand enough on each point, or each body in this case. So in body 1, in this option, option 1, you want to have 2 points. These 2 points ideally support your choice. Whatever your opinion is, you elaborate on that in body 1, 2 points. Body 2, you have another 2 points, but this time you talk about the other side. You talk about the opinion you did not choose. So as I mentioned, the nuclear station was not my opinion. So in body 2, I'm going to say 2 points that are going to bash the nuclear station and say why that's a bad idea. When we go to option 2, here you have 2 bodies. Now both options are good. You can use both. I have seen high marks with both options. However, I prefer option 1 because mostly students get even better marks with this one. But if it's too much, because it can be with 4 points, if you feel that's overwhelming, as long as you do this very nicely, efficiently, and explain this well, you're okay. What you want to do here is body 1, you want to make 1 long point, and body 2, you want to make the second long point. Both points are going to support your opinion. In this case, we don't talk about the other side. Now, again, the long point means you need at least 3 to 4 sentences in each body just talking about that opinion and the advantage, that one advantage. And again, for some people, this is easy to do compared to doing too many points. But for some, it's hard because it's like 1 paragraph for just 1 point. But yeah, that's where the balance, the approach, the differences come in. It's your decision, whichever option you want to select. At the end of the day, you want to get these assessed to make sure you are scoring the best marks. And just like these students, you are sending us your writings and we can assess them for you for free. All you got to do is email us your writing sample. Email is in the description. Please like, share, subscribe, guys. We'll talk soon. And make sure to avoid these writing mistakes. They will kill your marks.